Morning and welcome to the regular session of Elgin County Council. It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024, 9 a.m. and I will call this meeting to order. First order of business is the adoption of the minutes.
Resolved that the minutes of the meeting held on May 28th, 2024 and the closed meeting minutes from May 28th, 2024 be adopted.
Moved by Councillor Latham, second by Councillor Cookett. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. I'll remind members of any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Moving into committee of the whole.
Resolved that we do now move into committee of the whole.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Warden Jones and Councillor Noble will second. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Section 6, reports of council, outside boards and staff. 6.1 is the warden's activity report for May of 2024. The report is before you. In addition, I would like to mention that earlier this month, Deputy Warden Jones, on my behalf, attended a meeting with the City of London and the surrounding area. It was an invitation to discuss economic development, homelessness, and various other issues, with the outcome being trying to solicit interest for a joint meeting with a multi-ministerial delegation, perhaps at AMO. I expect there'll be some follow-up meetings coming with that, and I think some notes were going to be distributed to Blaine in this regard. I don't know if they have yet. They will be coming. So stay tuned. I thought it was going to be mainly a focus on homelessness, but it tends to be a little broader than that. And so I think it's something that Elgin should be participating in. If there are any questions, I would certainly entertain them. Otherwise, Catherine, please.
Resolved that the report titled Warden's Activity Report, May 2024, from Warden Ketchaba, dated May 31st, 2024, be received and filed.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Noble will move. Deputy Warden Jones will second. All in favor? That's carried. Brings us to 6.2 from the curator from the Elgin County Museum Collections Management Policy Approval. Morning, Maddie, and welcome to the Horseshoe.
Thank you very much. And good morning, Mr. Warden, and through you to County Council. This report recommends amendments to the museum's collections management policy. I've highlighted the substantive changes in the report. This is a very important policy for the museum, not only guiding what artifacts we acquire, but also the terms under which we assess and manage the current collection. Our major priority at the moment is a detailed review of the existing collection to determine if we have the mandate and capacity to maintain certain items. The adoption of this review policy will further guide those efforts. I am pleased to report that this policy was reviewed and revisions supported by the Elgin County Museum Advisory Committee, which includes 2 members of Elgin County Council, Councillors Shiger and Hentz. I'm happy to answer any further questions Council might have.
Thank you for that report. Does anyone have any questions or wish to make any comment? I see that 2 members of the committee are quite satisfied and thumbs up. That should be an endorsement. I think it's well overdue. I think it needs to be done. There seems to be quite a collection. Perhaps some of it needs to be parsed through. If there are no further comments or questions, then we will entertain the motion.
Resolved that the Elgin County Museum's Collections Management Policy, as attached as Appendix A to the report titled Elgin County Museum Collections Management Policy Approval from the curator, dated June 11th, 2024, be hereby adopted.
Do we have a mover and seconder? Councillor Hentz and Councillor Latham. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Maddie. 6.3 from the Acting Manager of Planning PS 2412, condominium exemption from draft plan approval, Compass Trail Phase 3. Good morning, Mr. Hicks.
Good morning, Mr. Warden, members of council. This morning you have two applications before you that are kind of two sides of the same coin. They're both exemptions from a draft plan of condominium application. And I'll go into the details about what an exemption of from draft plan condominium application is. Council will recall that when we do go through the approvals process for a plan of subdivision, it's a two-step process. So first we grant draft approval, which is a conditional approval. Then the applicant goes and fulfills their conditions of draft approval, and then they apply again to the county for final approval. And that's at the moment that they're going to go ahead and register the plan at the land registry office. The lots are created, and the lots can then be sold and built upon. A condominium in Ontario follows the very same process. It goes through a draft plan approval process. So you get draft plan of condo, and then you'll apply for a final approval for that condo upon fulfilling your conditions. However, there is an exemption exception, I should say, under the Condominium Act that allows for an exemption to the draft approval process. So that means that would be a situation where an individual comes in and applies for a plan of condominium, and instead of going to the first step of draft approval and then to final approval, they apply for the plan of condominium. It's exempted from the draft approval process, and that individual goes straight to final approval. And the circumstances in which we contemplate exemptions from draft plan approval are really when the plan has already gone through a planning process, and we don't need to send it through a second redundant planning process. So that's often when we have a condominium that's proceeded by way of site plan approval first, is received, gone through the planning review at the local municipality, has received site plan approval, and then the applicant wants to condominiumize the development afterwards. Because it's already gone through the site plan approval at the local level, there's no need to send it through the draft plan approval at the county level, and therefore the applicants that apply for an exemption. And this is what is in front of council this morning. This is the first condominium application, which is in Central Elgin, is Compass Trail. This is the final phase of a 3-phase development. It's the last of 13 units of the 52-unit development. The development in question has received site plan approval from the municipality of Central Elgin some time ago. The vast majority of the development has been built out. Staff are certainly satisfied that this has gone through a robust and normal and rigorous development review process at Central Elgin. And we're satisfied that this application can proceed to final approval because it's already gone through the planning approval at the local municipality. So as such, I have a recommendation before you on the first application, Mr. Warden, for an approval to exempt the proposed Compass Trail Phase 3 plan of condominium from the draft plan approval process. And we're seeking concurrence from council on that this morning. With that, I'll pause for any questions or comments that council may have.
Thank you very much for that report, Paul, and the explanation. Does anyone have any questions regarding this particular application? Deputy Warden Jones.
Just one, thank you, Mr. Warden. Just one through you to Paul. Just Paul, when it looks like you have a shared road around the outside of the condominium around part of phase 1 and part of phase 2, how does that work when it's a shared road in a condominium? Just a question.
Sure. So I'm going to just skim down over to that phasing plan. So if you'll take a look at, I'm going to suggest it's page 32 of your agenda package, which shows the phasing plan. And you'll see it's highlighted phase 1 in pink, phase 2 in blue, and phase 3 in green. So the roads that surround that condominium development have been attributed, for the most part, the maintenance of them to phase 1, and also a section to phase 2 and a small section to phase 3. So through the condominium agreement that's been signed and the site plan agreement that's been signed with Central Elgin, they've already decided what condominium corporations will be responsible for each segment of that road network.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, seeing none, Catherine, please.
Resolved that the report titled PS 2412, condominium exemption from draft plan approval, Compass Trail Phase 3, from the Acting Manager of Planning dated June 11th, 2024, be received and filed, and that the Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin grants, in accordance with Section 9 of the Condominium Act, an exemption to draft plan approval for a draft plan of a phased condominium on Block 65, Plan 11M 24-1, Part Lot 1, Concession 1, Geographic Village of Port Stanley, Municipality of Central Elgin, for lands contained in Block 65 for the development of a further 13 units, and that staff be directed to prepare and issue a certificate of exemption and sign and submit the final plans to the Land Registry Office in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act and Condominium Act.
Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Noble will move. Councillor Sloan will second. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 6.4 from the Acting Manager of Planning, PS 2413, condominium exemption from draft plan approval, Kokomo Beach Club, 100 of the Promenade. Paul, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. So much like the first application that council heard just now, this is again an exemption from draft plan of condominium. We're located in Port Stanley again, and we're also located in the municipality of Central Elgin, but instead of a 13 row house, the unit row house development, we're talking about a 68 unit 4-story apartment complex. This apartment complex was site plan approved by the municipality in 2021 and has been constructed. So at this time, the applicant, again, we have an approved development, and in this case, we actually have a constructed building. And in this case, the applicant is coming and he's looking to condominiumize the apartment building, so each individual unit in the apartment building can be sold. Like the previous application, this has gone through site plan approval. County is satisfied that it's gone through the appropriate channels, and we've confirmed with local staff that there are no outstanding issues related to the approval of it. And as such, the recommendation before council today from staff is that county council grant an exemption to the draft approval process to allow this condominium to proceed to final approval. And again, Mr. Warden, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have on the matter.
Thank you very much for that report, Paul. Again, any questions? Very similar to the former. I believe council gets it. Thank you, Paul, for that. We'll have the question, and don't run away. I've got a statement for you after.
Certainly.
Catherine?
Resolved that the report titled PS 2413, Condominium Exemption from Draft Plan Approval, Kokomo Beach Club, 100 The Promenade, from the Acting Manager of Planning dated June 11th, 2024, be received and filed, and that the Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin grants, in accordance with Section 9 of the Condominium Act, an exemption to draft plan approval for a draft plan of a phased condominium on part of Block 66, Plan 11M 24-7, and part of Block 61, Plan 11M 259, Geographic Village of Port Stanley, Municipality of Central Elgin, for the development of a 68-unit condominium, and that staff be directed to prepare and issue a certificate of exemption and sign and submit the final plans to the Land Registry Office in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act and Condominium Act.
Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Noble will move. Deputy Warden Jones will second. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Paul, for that. I do have a brief statement. Today marks Paul Hicks's final council meeting as Acting Manager of Planning at the County of Elgin. On behalf of County Council, I extend our heartfelt appreciation to Paul and Republic Urbanism for the invaluable planning support provided to the county over the past 2 years. The County of Elgin has been privileged to benefit from Paul's extensive experience during a period of transition. Paul has collaborated with various levels of government and the private sector on a diverse range of projects, including master plans, official plans, public consultations, research, strategies, and development approvals. Since commencing his work with the county in January of 2022, Paul has offered invaluable guidance throughout the completion of our recent official plan review process. The County of Elgin deeply values his experience and leadership during this critical project. Thank you, Paul, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Council, perhaps we can show some appreciation for Paul. So thank you again, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and thank you, members of council. It was an absolute privilege to be able to backfill this position over the past couple of years, and to be able to assist county council in fulfilling your mandate. And myself and my team, certainly we remain available to county council and at your disposal. But it was very much a privilege and an honor to serve county council over the past 2 years, and I thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for those remarks, Paul, and you have a great day.
You as well. All the best.
Moving onward with section 6.5 from the Director of Engineering, Plank Road, Vienna, speed management options. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Mr. Warden, through you to the rest of County Council. This report investigates potential traffic safety measures along Plank Road within the village of Vienna, and specifically between Edison Street and Oak Street. And the report also generally discusses speed management options for county road locations through built-up areas. The county has 39 of these built-up areas. These are villages and hamlets and small rural communities that we all know and love throughout the county of Elgin. Each one of these built-up areas has a reduced speed zone of either 50 or 60 kilometers an hour. We actually have one 70-kilometer-an-hour speed zone, and that's just south of West Lauren. And sometimes we also have embedded within these communities school zones that have further reduced speed zones of 40 kilometers an hour. The arterial and collector roads that traverse through these communities have a functional classification of either being an arterial or a collector road, and their traffic volumes range anywhere from 1,000 vehicles per day to 10,000 vehicles per day. Speed management through settlement areas can be challenging, as we all are aware. County roads provide high-speed travel over long distance and open roadside environments. And when the road enters into built-up areas, it adds additional purposes, such as to accommodate local accesses. And that can be difficult to alter the driver's behavior entering those areas. The primary role of the road is to move higher volumes of vehicle, often traveling to further destinations, and therefore a balance must be struck so that the road's function is not compromised while maintaining road safety. In this regard, there are many traffic calming tools that are not appropriate for county roads. However, some speed management tools are available. The County of Elgin references the Transportation Association of Canada's, or TAC's, Canadian Guide to Traffic Calming. This is the guide that's commonly used by Canadian municipalities in order to review options for them on their roadways. Treatments that are appropriate on county roads include pavement markings, temporary delineators, education, and enforcement. And I'll speak briefly about the numerous options within these categories. First of all, pavement markings. The manual provides 5 different types of treatments, and they include converging chevrons, dragon's teeth, full lane transverse bars, and on-road sign pavement markings, as well as peripheral transverse bars. So of that list, only the road sign pavement markings are identified as being the most suitable for urban arterial road sections. They can be used in other locations, but the manual tries to curtail and provide best practices as where treatments are best utilized. The other 4 pavement marking treatments all use a pattern of progressively reduced spacing to give the driver the impression that their speed is increasing. And those options are predominantly best served if vehicles are traveling at higher rates of speed and you require the driver to take note to adjust their speed accordingly. For example, if there's a deficient horizontal curve or an obscured intersection with a vertical curve, and you want to make the driver note of their speed. So predominantly those are used in rural sections of roadways, but they could be used in urban sections. For example, the 50-kilometer-an-hour sign can be painted on the roadway and directly in the line of sight of the driver. And this gives them an additional cue to be aware of what speed they're traveling at. The advantages of this treatment is that there are no adverse effects to emergency vehicles, snow plowing, commercial vehicles, and very importantly, agricultural equipment. They would require painting every 1 to 2 years. The estimated cost would be around $500 per location. Based on a study identified within the TAC manual, speeds may be reduced somewhere between 6 and 14 kilometers an hour. However, it also should be noticed as the drivers become familiar with these type of treatments, they may not have the same effect longer term. Secondly, we can look at temporary delineators. These narrow the roadway to increase the driver's feeling of confinement, and they can also reduce operating speeds. Lane widths can be temporarily reduced using flexible delineators in some urbanized locations where larger commercial vehicles nor agricultural equipment travel. And these do require some ongoing maintenance. We did pilot in 2022, council supported a pilot project initiated by the municipality of Central Elgin to install temporary centerline delineators within the village of Port Stanley. And the TAC manual references a 2013 study that suggests speeds may be reduced up to 5 kilometers an hour. And that data is consistent with the findings of the municipality of Central Elgin study within Port Stanley, where traffic speeds were found to be reduced between 1 and 7 kilometers an hour at the 3 locations identified on the map on page 43. Another option to consider are speed device signs. In 2012, a study identified that speeds could be reduced between 3 and 14 kilometers per hour. However, once again, once drivers become familiar with these type of treatments, they tend to lose their effectiveness if they're not followed up with enforcement. The units cost approximately $4,000 a piece. And for examples of local use, the municipality of West Elgin and the township of Malahide, as well as the OPP, have these devices and do deploy them when speed concerns are received. The OPP had historically used a trailer-mounted version of this sign, but technology has permitted a solar power to panel the signs and they become much more portable. And they are used across the county and across the province. Next, we have enforcement. I think we're all familiar with the various campaigns the OPP deliver on our roadways through various times of the year. They take exception to when school starts again, for example, or when the spring weather breaks and everybody is excited to get their sports cars or their motorcycles on the roadway. And they have strategies to target specific driving behaviors during specific times of the year. County staff also has a current practice where when we receive speed concerns from residents, we deploy our speed radar traffic counters. And if we find that the data that we're collecting is extraordinary, it's beyond the normal ranges that we typically see, we share this information with the OPP. And they take that information and deploy targeted enforcement as they deem suitable and as their resources permit. And this type of program, although it's informal, could be referred to as a speed watch and targeted enforcement program. The OPP takes the opportunity to normally visit the resident who has expressed the speed concern when they're on site doing their enforcement activity. So it closes the loop to ensure that the resident is made aware that we're doing our best efforts to try to modify the behaviors on the roadways. It's our experience that the short-term behavior modifications are achieved, but they're not very long-lasting. Next, we have automatic speed enforcement, or ASEs. The Highway Traffic Act was amended to allow municipalities to use ASEs in school zones and community safety zones less than 80 kilometers an hour. Those are the 2 locations that the Highway Traffic Act allows ASEs to be implemented. These are expensive systems. However, there are companies that exist who provide turnkey solutions for municipalities at minimal upfront investment, and they can share in the revenue from the violations. And those revenue sharing agreements do vary greatly depending on the volume of infractions that are issued. Before automatic speed enforcement tools are implemented, there are several steps that need to be taken by the municipality. We must develop and implement a policy to establish criteria as to exactly where we're installing these ASCs. We must set up an administrative monetary penalty system as dictated by the MTO, enter into an agreement with the MTO and MAG to access plate registration information, hire a local provincial offenses officer, as well as appoint a screening officer. And finally, develop and implement a 90-day public awareness program every time these systems are either moved or implemented at different locations. A few municipalities are piloting ASCs right now. They're relatively new, and staff will continue to monitor their success. Now, specifically for Plank Road, this was the catalyst for why we're having this discussion today, and staff has reviewed Plank Road in the village of Vienna, and specifically between Edison and Oak Street. We reviewed the police collision reports we have for the last 10 years, and we did not find there were any roadway collisions. There was, however, one deer collision and one parking maneuver collision. However, those don't influence any speed management tools. Traffic data was also collected for a full week. We counted nearly 20,000 vehicles and found that we have about 2,850 vehicles a day on this section of roadway, which is a bit above average county road for volume. And the average speed was found to be 54 kilometers an hour, and the 85th percentile speed was found to be 62 kilometers an hour. These speeds are not unusual. However, some improvements can be considered by council to reduce these operating speeds. There is a diagram on the top of page 46 of the report that has a photo of the existing condition of this stretch of roadway. And first of all, you'll notice that there's a white parking line that's missing from the one side of the roadway. In order to better define that lane, it's suggested that that parking lane be reinstated. Secondly, reviewing the existing reduced speed zone signs through the hamlet, they follow the Highway Traffic Act. However, the signs are spaced at the maximum 600-meter spacing. So it's appropriate to add a couple additional signs to complement this area. And finally, as a pilot project, to increase the awareness of this reduced speed zone, a maximum 50-kilometer-an-hour roadway line marking can be installed. And that's also showcased here on this image. That's really not on the roadway, that's just photoshopped on the image there, but that's what we hope to achieve from this. The traffic data will be collected after these treatments are installed, and we will be reporting back to County Council at a future meeting with the findings of how the operating speeds may have been altered. County staff will work with local municipal staff to have the roadway markings and the signage installed. The municipality of BAM will be requested to install the treatments at the county's expense. And finally, staff will continue to implement urban design methodology during reconstruction projects to ensure a balance is maintained of lower operating speeds while maintaining the road's primary function. I can give you two examples. One is this year, we're reconstructing a section of St. George Street, and we're purposely narrowing the lanes and introducing barrier curb. 3.25-meter lanes are pretty narrow feeling, especially if you're in a larger pickup truck, which most people drive these days, or commercial vehicles. So we're anticipating that will lower operating speeds. That section of roadway is notorious for operating speeds exceeding the 50-kilometer-an-hour posted speed limit. And finally, we're in the very preliminary design stages for a planned reconstruction of the village of Fingal in 2026. And we're hoping to implement a Made in Elgin gateway treatment at that location that modifies drivers' behaviors entering into the hamlet while being friendly to agricultural equipment. So there'll be more on that to follow into the future. I'd be pleased to answer any questions in regards to this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for that report. I'm going to open the floor. Any questions, any observations, comments? Deputy Warden Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you to Peter, Southwell, we're looking very much forward to what's happening in Fingal. And it's going to be a huge transformation, we hope, and with along with Southwell being on board with some other modifications too. But shedding still becomes an issue, and I just recently had a few calls from some residents that have obviously got together and are not happy and are asking for crosswalks.
Hmm.
And that, I assume, becomes very expensive as well. And just the traffic flow, especially when we have a closure on 401, becomes a bit of an issue. And I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that, but I'm sure Southwell Council will be coming with a letter at some point about it as well.
Yes, Peter, please.
I could respond to that, Mr. Warden, through you to Deputy Warden Jones. Upon receiving a request for any pedestrian crossing treatments, if they meet warrants, the county will put that in a future capital plan to install a PXO at any location. We've recently trialed a solar powered one in Port Bruce that seems to be working fairly well, which does end up reducing costs with hydro connections and whatnot. You might be in the neighborhood of $40,000 to design and implement a proper pedestrian crossing treatment. If they're warranted, it's something that staff will bring forward to be included in a capital budget. If the insufficient crossing movements exist so that they are not formally warranted, the municipality always has the right to install those treatments on a county road, and we've done that successfully in other municipalities.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Councillor Cockett.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you to Peter. I guess there are four things in life that are certain: death, taxes, parking, and speed issues in existing communities, or you want to have speed issues. You mentioned the high cost of automatic speed enforcement. Do you have a ballpark figure? And secondly, you mentioned that were a few municipalities that were experimenting with this. Are these large cities or are these small communities? Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden, to Councillor Crockett. Preliminarily, I believe these cameras can cost a couple $100,000 to install and purchase. However, the municipalities that are piloting them are not purchasing the equipment. They're utilizing a company that provides the equipment for them, sets it up, understands how to operate the equipment, how to calibrate the equipment regularly, and therefore taking that burden off of the municipalities. The municipalities currently piloting these are in smaller communities, however, experiencing tremendous volumes. Traditionally, they're around the CAO's former place of employment, around the Barrie area, around New Tecumseh. In those communities, traffic volumes are much greater than we are experiencing here in Elgin County.
Thank you.
Councillor Whitner.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you to Peter. That's a good report, Peter. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to the data, though. It's key because without that, we could just be chasing our tails. And I see you say 1 to 7 km/h reduction. That's almost imperceptible to read with the data. So let's just see what before and after and look, because we have a lot of places we could be using this if it does work. So hopefully it does, and we'll have some improvements in the other communities. Thank you.
Councillor Jiguer.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you to Peter. Yes, thank you also for the excellent report and the consideration of sort of this optical illusion. I'm wondering if staff would be willing to go one step further and to add, I think there's different technical terms for them, but I'm just concerned that the line, just adding a line may not have the effect, whereas there are other designs where you have the either diagonal lines on the outside, or I think you call them like dragon's teeth on the inside. And I know you said that might be more suitable for urban areas, but they don't have to be ruled out necessarily for this. So is that something we'd be willing to consider since it is a pilot? I'd like to maximize, different alternatives. Or do we go one step at a time, try the line first, and then maybe we add, additional lines after? Open to your thoughts on that.
Peter.
Through you, Mr. Warden, to Councillor Jiguer. The reason the peripheral treatment of the optical illusion, as you've mentioned, was not recommended at this specific location is within Vienna, this isn't on a longer tangent section of roadway. It's bound by two bridges that have horizontal curves. So I believe a more appropriate location for such a treatment would be a longer straight section of roadway. So the driver may be more influenced by that type of treatment. They see it longer. They are installed over a 300-meter section. There's a very defined way within the manual that identifies the spacing and how that spacing reduces depending on what speed reduction you wish to achieve. And the length of the treatment doesn't lend itself to this application within the village of Vienna. However, it may be appropriate at another location. The difficulty is with 39 of these built up hamlets, communities, rural communities, you can appreciate we have at least 2 county roads entering the community. So if you average, say, 3 county roads entering the community, we have over 100 of these entrance points that we could contemplate. And it'd be difficult to choose which one maybe we would want to have a pilot to try this at. With council's direction, we'd be happy to try it at any location. We could come back with some suggestions where we could try that. It's really up to council. It just failing a formal policy, it could be a slippery slope where we're installing hundreds of these locations that over time may not yield the effectiveness we're hoping to achieve.
Anyone else? Councillor Noble.
Mr. Warden, with you, Belmont with the added construction and some of the other road construction that's going on because of Volkswagen is definitely an area of concern too while we're having this conversation.
For
I
sure.
just want to bring that up.
For sure. Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. To Councillor Noble, I can just add for Belmont Road at County Road 52, it is identified in the capital budget this year. We will be installing illumination as well as an intersection control beacon at that intersection due to a collision history. And council will also see on County Road 52 in the proposed budget, and we're having a budget meeting later on this afternoon. It's new for council, but we're starting to get some collision histories that are going to trigger some warrants at some busier roads around the city of St. Thomas. And we haven't even experienced the development being, it's not even here yet. So county roads are getting busier. Collisions are occurring on county roads after the pandemic at a bit of an alarming pace. I'm not sure if that's due to driver inattention or people just getting busy and not paying attention to the roadway. But just for your information, that there will be some other treatments and signalization at intersections that will be proposed at future budgets.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. I'll take my swing at it. Peter, thank you very much for the report. And I agree with my colleagues that it was well written and it gives us some various options in which to pursue. The armadillo or whatever it is that you're using to count traffic down there, can it differentiate between north and southbound traffic?
Yes, it does. It also does classification. Generally, it'll be able to determine if it's a commercial vehicle as well.
Thank you for that. So it's been determined, and because of the illustration that you've provided, it's the southbound that's giving the most cause. And it's coming off of that hill, of course, round the bend, and across the bridge, and away they go. It's interesting also to note, I want to make note here that there have been collisions on the guardrails. And in case, from what I understand, some trucks on their sides skidding through across the bridge and ending up on the other side of the bridge. It's speed. It simply is speed. But this time the concern was brought to us about downtown area. And I like the idea of giving the illusion of narrowed lanes, and I think it will help. And I like the idea of perhaps putting some kind of painting markings on the lane itself. As you noted in your report, it may not be real effective in the wintertime, but hopefully people would drive according to the road conditions. spay them. You never know. So again, thank you for that report. So, Peter, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Just one point of clarification. This treatment is intended to be both north and south. We're just showing the facing south. We plan on painting this between Edison and Oak Streets. So we'll have the same treatment for the northbound traffic at this location as well as another speed sign there. And the curve just on the other side of the bridge was a concern with some collisions that happened. So last year we worked with BAM staff to add some more chevron warning signage
Yes.
at that curve. Thank you.
Thank you for that. If there is no further discussion, Catherine, please.
Resolved that the report titled Plank Road, Vienna, Speed Management Options from the Director of Engineering Services dated June 11th, 2024 be received and filed, and that staff work with local municipal staff to install additional roadway speed signage, roadway speed marking, and edge line painting on Plank Road within Vienna, as discussed in the report. The roadway speed markings are considered a pilot trial, and staff will report on their effectiveness at a future meeting.
Councillor Noble will move that. Councillor Widner will second. All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to 6.6, from the Manager of Administrative Services to Deputy Clerk, Municipal Flag Protocol and Proclamation Policy.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you to County Council. The report before you recommends the replacement of our existing Community Flag Raising and Flag Protocol Policy 1.3 with a revised Municipal Flag Protocol and Proclamation Policy, also 1.3. In 2019, County Council approved the existing policy, which governs the half-masting of flags at county facilities, as well as the raising of flags on our community flagpole here at the Elgin County Heritage Center. After nearly 5 years, this policy has undergone a review, and staff are recommending that it be replaced with a revised policy for accuracy, clarity, and functionality. Currently in our Administrative Services Department, we are reviewing a broad range of our policies, so you will be seeing a few more coming in the coming months to make sure that they accurately reflect our practices and that they are clear. Additionally, we are receiving more requests for proclamations recently, and we don't currently have a policy that governs the issuing of proclamations by council. So additionally, the work out front of the county building has installed LED technology, which allows us to light the building in different colors. So staff thought that this policy would be the perfect place to put that as well. So there are a few changes. The policy does largely remain unchanged. Most of the provisions from the original policy have transferred over to the new policy. However, there were certain areas that staff required a bit of clarity on, and also then adding the new content in as well. So additionally, our half-masting protocols do apply to all of our county facilities, so our long-term care homes, the administration building, the flagpole at the Heritage Center, and POA. However, it wasn't indicated in the policy specifically, so staff wanted that to be indicated specifically for clarity. As well, the approval of authority of who decides which flags get raised at the community flagpole wasn't clear. It was clear that the warden has discretion for half-masting, which it is recommended that that remain because those requests are timely, and staff don't recommend waiting 2 weeks for a council meeting for approval on a half-masting of a flag. But we do recommend that because organizations are required to provide us with their requests 4 weeks in advance, that there is ample time that council as a whole could consider requests for raising community flags on the community flagpole at the Heritage Center. Additionally, we added provisions for which proclamations are eligible to be considered by council, and a procedure for how we will bring those forward to council. And we also included the provisions for lighting the facilities. So staff are recommending that organizations that are eligible and approved by county council for a flag raising and or a proclamation are also eligible for lighting the county building with a specific color related to their cause. So we wanted to include that as well. I did want to, oh, and additionally, we have created a standardized form so that organizations can fill out, so that staff have all of the pertinent information to provide to council. So contact information, the date that they would like the flag raised, what their cause is, and that sort of information, so that council can be presented with standardized information during the approval process. I did want to note that the form will be fillable. It was fillable, and when I uploaded it into eScribe, it was no longer fillable. So before it gets put on our county website or sent to any of our community organizations, it will be fillable for ease of use. I did want to note that this will not affect the eligibility of any of the organizations who usually use our flagpole. So our regular organizations who come forward to council every year requesting to use the flagpole, none of the new criteria or the new policy will affect their eligibility. And we are not requiring any groups who have already received approval at the council level for flag raising to go back and fill out this form this year. So they have all been approved, and those will go forward without requiring them to fill out a new form in 2024. But this for them would take effect for any upcoming requests that have not been before council, and then any of the existing organizations who want their flag raised in 2025 will utilize this form. I would be happy to answer any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, for that report. And I believe that this brings some clarity to the policy. I'm going to open it up to any questions. Councillor Sloan.
Thank you, through you, Warden. I'm not sure about the clarity with respect to lighting the building. So maybe someone could give me some information on how that works. Is it overnight? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden. We do indicate that the lights will go off at midnight. So flag raisings and lighting, we limit them to a week for every cause, and the lights will go on at dusk, and then they will be turned off at midnight each night.
Okay.
A supplementary through you, Warden. Why a week? If I could ask why it's a week, not a day, not a month. Do we have any others that are doing this? I know this whole lighting thing is new, so I'm sure the constituents might be interested in how we're going to be lighting the building. And will it be made available on the public site that people can apply to have the building lit? Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden. A week is what was in our previous policy, and around the executive leadership table, it was discussed that we thought that the flying of the Canadian flag was very important. So we didn't want to fly other organizations' flags for too lengthy of a period and not be flying the Canada flag. So that was just the decision that the group thought that a week, either often there'll be an awareness day, and if the group requests less than a week, then we will accommodate that and the flag will be flown for 1 day or 2 days in accordance with what they request. But if usually there are awareness weeks, so we've just settled on a week because we wanted to make sure that the flagpole was available for other organizations that may want to fly their flag in the same kind of time period, but also to prioritize the flying of the Canadian flag. In terms of the lighting of the building, all organizations who are approved for a flag raising or for a proclamation may also request that the building is lit for the same duration of time.
If I may, just a final, Warden, through you. You said that the warden would be able to deal with when it's half-mast, but when it comes to the lighting of the building, that you're saying is going to go through the executive team?
No. Catherine.
Through you, Mr. Warden, that will also go through County Council. So all proclamation requests and flag raising requests will go through County Council, and groups who are approved for those must also indicate whether they want to light the building, and that will be approved at the same time by County Council.
Very good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Catherine, some questions on the half masting. The policy or procedure indicates a 3-day duration. Now, in some cases and circumstances, and I assume this applies to the entire list you've got within the policy, including the death of a sovereign and whatever else. Sometimes I thought the practice was that upon notification, say, of a former warden or something, or a member of council, that the flag would go at half-mast and probably stay there until after the funeral or the day of the funeral anyway, maybe more than 3 days. I'm just wondering if should there be some flexibility put into this? Secondly, for example, with the death of our former sovereign, the flag could have stayed down for quite a considerable period until the funeral took place. What I'm asking.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Our previous policy did indicate 3 days. However, in practice and in looking at the policies of other municipalities, we have been keeping the flag down on from the time of notification of the passing until sundown on the day of the funeral. So in the new policy, I've actually changed that.
Thank you.
And in terms of when, perhaps when a sovereign or someone of that significance passes, it would be at the discretion of the warden to decide the length of the half-masting.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from anyone? Comments? I think it's important regarding that council has a say on any request for proclamations or for flag raisings. I don't think that should be something left solely to the discretion of one member of council. I think the county participates in this, and I accept well, I should say, as I think the warden should accept the responsibility on the half-masting responsibilities in order, just for expediency, if that's all right. Pretty quiet bunch today. Okay, Catherine.
Resolved that the report titled Municipal Flag Protocol and Proclamation Policy from the Manager of Administrative Services / Deputy Clerk dated May 31st, 2024 be received and filed, and that council replace the Community Flag Raising and Flag Protocol Policy 1.3 with the revised Municipal Flag Protocol and Proclamation Policy 1.3.
Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Hentz and Deputy Warden Jones. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We have no correspondence to deal with today. Let's move on to Section 8, Other Business. Are there any statements or inquiries of members or by members? Notice of motion? Matters of urgency. Brings us to Section 11. Motion to adopt recommendations from the Committee of the Whole.
Resolved that we do now adopt recommendations of the Committee of the Whole.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Noble, Councillor Sloan will second. All in favor? That's carried. The confirming bylaw.
Bylaw number 2422. Being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of the Municipal Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin at the June 11th, 2024 meeting. Resolved that bylaw number 2422 be now read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Hentz and Deputy Warden Jones. All in favor? That's carried. Brings us to the adjournment.
Resolved that we do now adjourn at 9:54 a.m. to meet again on June 25th, 2024 at 9:00 a.m.
Councillor Widner will move that. Councillor Latham will second. All in favor? That is carried. And thank you very much. A lot of business done in short order.